Hello, everybody. I'm live. So it's almost winter time, and these lives will have to be with these lights because it's dark outside. This is after Maghrib. My head is still wet from the voodoo. Anyways, hopefully some of you will join because this is an unannounced live stream, but I usually do them on Saturday. So inshallah, somebody will see this. And if you do see this live stream, please comment so that I can know that somebody watched this. Anyways, I want to talk about today a topic which is pretty complex. And it's not from my wisdom or nothing like that, because I just had this idea because we went to a mosque in Prague, which is like the biggest mosque. It's more like a madrasa actually. It's like a mosque together. There are several floors. There's also a women's section, and there's also a kind of a library there. And a sheikh from another city came in, and kids are there over the weekend learning the Quran. And so we arrived to the mosque, which is like kind of a small school on the outskirts of Prague. And we had a meetup. Well, not a meetup. It was like a presentation from a sheikh about the soul. What is the soul in Islam, and how you should think about it. This topic is really interesting, and the way it works is the presentation is in Arabic, and there's a translator who translates in Czech language. And it was really interesting because a few months ago we attended one of the presentations about Sufism, I think, and there was just like few people, like maybe 10, and now there was like 50 people. And first time in my life I've actually seen like a ton of kids, maybe like 30 small kids, small girls, small boys, then hijabi women, like 30 of them, and then men. So it was like 100 people maybe all together in this one building, all Muslims, all Czech, kind of like immigrant Czech, 100% Czech converts. One woman who just is learning to pray, she's already wearing a hijab. There was my wife, who's a Christian. There was another dude from Slovakia who's a non-believer, but he's really interested in this stuff. So it's like so many people showed up. It was really interesting. And so the topic was, what is soul? And that's what I want to kind of talk about, because I still have it in my head, the memory from what we talked about, and I think it was really interesting, and worth a live stream. But thanks so much for tuning in. Assalamu alaikum. Alaikum salam. Alaikum salam, Muhammad. Salam Rambo. Alaikum salam, Hussein. So thank you guys for tuning in. Maybe you can write down where are you from. So let me know if you're tuning in from Turkey, from Malaysia, from the UK, or from some other place. That would be amazing. And let me know how was your week. My week was good. It's still the same battle, good versus evil. It's still the same struggle as everybody else, because the biggest struggle in this dunya, in this world, is to fight against your own desires. And yeah, so I've been kind of trying to reminiscence on my Turkish trip. So I was visiting a couple of mosques here and just spending some time alone in them, and trying to get back to being on the straight path. Well, I technically am, but trying to be more on the straight path and get closer. But yeah, so I was just in that mode this week, but I'm still kind of just young. Dang, I'm from Mauritania. Really? Because I've heard about Mauritania, and that's crazy that you're watching from there. Like, that's awesome. Kerala, India. Kerala, yeah, I know. Moon splitting king, right? I know some guys from Kerala who are also here in Prague. Anyways, one other thing. Yesterday after Jumu'ah, I went to Budget Books, just random chance. Well, nothing's random, but I came across this book. I don't recommend it if you don't want to know about philosophy, but if you do want to just have a brief understanding of all the philosophy. It's really good. It basically summarizes, for example, I'm just going to show you like ancient philosophy, and every philosophy has one page. For example, this is Hinduism, and it gives you all the things about Hinduism you need to know, and that's it. Like it gives you the shortcut, and then it gives you the main hack, and that's it. All you need to know about Hinduism, done. The other point, samsara, eternal rebirth. And so, what is Brahman? So it goes through many things. For example, Jainism. This one is really interesting. It's 5 million people in the world follow this, and they don't believe in eating plants or anything because it has life, but they believe in suicide, like it's fine. So it's pretty strange. Then you have Buddhism. This is really good if you want to know about these things, but you need to be really strong in your Islam and your Aqidah and everything. It shouldn't take you away. It should enrich your knowledge, because you need to know about the world. You can't live in a bubble, of course. But it does talk about a few crazy things, like you have some philosophers then. So just take it with a grain of salt. It's not for everybody. There are some crazy ideas here, Socrates and stuff like that. But it's really good because it's compact and you can sound smart. Aristoteles. You can sound smart after reading this, and you'll be like, "Oh, how did this guy know this?" And it's just from one page. And it's a really good book. It's only $10. Anyways, that's what I'm checking out right now. Bro, you should learn about Surah. Such a powerful message that our Prophet used to read it in Fajr prayers. Thanks. But that's not what this live is about. But thank you for a suggestion. Like sometimes there are messages who are not really about the topic, but maybe it is about the topic. Maybe I'm wrong, so forgive me. But yeah, and this was off topic as well, by the way. But anyways, let's talk about what is soul. So maybe you can write down in the comments, what do you understand about the soul? Because there are two expressions, right? There's nuf, I think, nuf, and then ruh. Can you tell me the difference between these two terms? And what do you think is the soul? What do you think is the soul? Because essentially, this is a deep question. Because you can use this in your conversations with many people, especially atheists, because essentially soul doesn't exist, even though they've done some scientific experiments and they know that when a person dies, they have a certain weight. And so in the moment before death, they weigh them. And then once they pass away, they weigh them again. And it was found that I'm not sure about specifically how many grams from their body were left, but I'm just going to make up a number, like 16 grams left from everybody. So they concluded that something weighing 16 grams, let's say, left their body at the moment of death. And they think this is the kind of the soul. But what is the soul? So what did leave their body? Well, tell me in the comments. But technically, like, think about it. Soul is kind of like you life. It gives you life, right? Because without the soul, you don't have life. You don't have you're dead. So what do you understand about a soul? And yeah, that could be cool. And maybe the difference between ruh and nur, I think. Nuf. Nuf. No, nur is the light, right? I'm just learning. Don't quote me on my Arabic, whatever pronunciation. But yeah, that would be cool because it was really interesting. Soul is a battery of our body. Kind of. Where does soul come from? Where does soul come from? Is soul your consciousness? Or is it your five senses? Eyesight, hearing, your taste in the mouth? Is that the soul? Is it your emotions, your feelings? Is that the soul? Is it the combination of all these things? Is that the soul? Or what exactly is the soul? Do you know the definition? Let me know. Nafs and ruh, yes. So let me know the difference between nafs and ruh. And then what do you think is the soul? What encompasses the soul? So that would be really interesting. Anyways, the Sheikh was saying there are three types of soul. Well, I don't really remember all of them, but we can just talk about this. By the way, I don't speak Arabic, so you'll have to speak in like this alphabet because I don't know how to translate this. Anyways, so it's really such a fascinating topic because essentially we're talking about what is life. right? And people don't understand even the basic concept, like what is life? Because essentially, life is not something material. It's not your body, because when you die, you still have the body you had, but it's lifeless. So soul gives everything life to the body, but can it exist outside of the body? Can it survive? Let me know in the comments, because these are really interesting questions. The second one is, so what happens when you die to the soul, and how does it relate to the day of judgment? That's really interesting, because from what I've learned today is that even trees have soul, because they have life. The animals have soul, and they all will be part of the day of judgment, and they all will testify on your behalf. So, for example, this mouse, this doesn't have a soul, it's lifeless. The same is the AI robot or whatever book. But anything that has properties that could be translated as life technically has a soul, and that thing will be part of the day of judgment. So let me know, how do you feel about, let's say, a tree, being part of your judgment on the day of judgment, or how you treated an animal? Ain't that crazy? Soul is ruh. So what is naf then? Because you have a soul, we have ruh and naf. So what's the difference? Maybe we don't have to go that deep. Anyways, it was really interesting about that perspective from the day of judgment and the soul. And then, yeah, basically you can articulate this concept from various angles. For example, in philosophy, they believe in soul. They think it's the essence of life. However, maybe they believe it could be material. It could be something to, in the future, you could explore, maybe look at it, maybe touch it. However, if we really think about this, how is that even possible? Where is the soul? How can you observe it? How can you touch it? How can you feel it? Can you taste it? All of this is going to be very problematic. And it doesn't matter how long a timeline is, it's still going to be a problem. So it seems like the soul is not from this world, and dunya means like a lower world, right? So dunya, in this dunya we have this soul, but this soul belongs to the higher world, the more enlightened world. The enlightened, I mean the world where you don't just look after your animalistic nafs, by now I mean desires, but you are trying to transcend your own kind of like being to something more. And you transcend it, of course, in Islam by following the Islamic path. But every religion has this concept that you transcend some sort of idea of yourself to a new enlightenment version. And the soul is coming from that, from above. So it's part of that world which is unseen. It doesn't come from this world, therefore we can't see it, but we all know we have it because we all feel the soul. Everybody knows if somebody is dead or alive. Everybody knows like killing somebody is definitely wrong, because you just took out their soul. It's not a robot, or it's not something you can just like discharge. This was a human soul. Even if you don't believe in God, you still have that knowledge. So if soul is from not here, what is the source of soul? Because in the Quran, as far as I know, we've read couple of ayats, and Allah says that He breathed into Adam ruh, which was part of His sort of like, it's not part of Allah, but it's He who gives life. So He gave this ruh, this soul, to Adam. Before that, he was just like a body, and He gave him part of that soul. And the whole point of the meaning of life comes into discussion, because the whole existence is about keeping your soul clean, so that once it meets Allah again, it will basically it will stay, sharp. It will stay it will not be dirty, because the more you do sins, whatever, the more you cloud your soul, you cloud your fitra, and innate predisposition to believe in Allah and all these things. And so there's also a question of souls. So the Sheikh explained that souls met in this unseen world. Therefore, if you are in dunya and you meet someone and you feel like you've already met them somewhere else, but you can't explain it, that's because the souls met in the unseen world already. And some of them had a good sort of connection, some of them didn't. And so when you meet someone over here, it's like, oh, I remember you from back then, but you can't really explain that feeling, but you have it, both of you. So that's what souls did. So they already existed without the bodies, I assume. And then once the creation began in terms of this world and everything like that, we were kind of sent down to the lower world where we are trying to get spiritual, trying to get to the transcendental level, which is only accessible through death. And yeah, that's where we are right now. And it's really interesting then once you die, what the soul will do and how it relates to the day of judgment and all these things. And yeah, just that's you. That's you. And the great thing about it is you have free will to either have a soul that is like nice and good and benefits the society and you in the hereafter, or you can damage it by doing whatever, let's say, you want to do, and then you go away. You can't even go back, and then you have this problem with your heart. By heart I mean you have like a spiritual disease. So these are just some thoughts. Let me go through the comments because subhanallah, I was talking a lot. Okay, this is not about soul, so I'm gonna skip this. Nafs desires. Not really. I'm talking about nafs in the Sheikh was explaining that's another part of the soul. So there's two nafses, one with you, one with A, I think. Maybe I'm wrong again. Isn't every limited entity material in some sense? Isn't every limited entity material in some sense? Maybe, but how do you verify that information? How do you test it? I'm not sure how to answer that question. Nafs enjoys evil and flows desires. All right, so I think I was wrong about nafs and ruh. I think it's just one thing. Maybe I misunderstood. Ruh enjoys good and follows good. Got it. All right, thank you guys for clarifying that. Tifach asks, do you guys affirm the controversial attributes of Allah, such as his hand, etc.? What's controversial about it? Let me know. And I read the title. Doesn't Allah say in the Quran that the knowledge of the soul is with Allah alone? Yes. So, but I'm not asking about the knowledge of the soul. I'm asking, what do you think soul is, according to the information we have from the Quran and maybe from a human endeavor to understand the essence of life? So that's my question. Of course, since the soul comes from the source, which is Allah, the knowledge of the soul and the secret of the soul stays with him. And even Allah said, like today the Sheikh was quoting a Quran where he said, like, even the secret of secrets stays with him. So of course you're right, but we're not really discussing this, to be honest, in that angle. All right, question. Is the soul only within you or all around you? Where is the dividing line? How do you know when you have accessed it? Well, I mean, how do you mean that you have accessed it? You have right now, so by definition, you are alive. You wrote this comment. So you are part of the soul. You are the soul. Technically, your consciousness and every feeling you feel and everything like that is part of the soul. And when you die, yeah, those things go, but your soul stays. But you are your essence is the soul. So it's always within you. It's not outside of you. It cannot go outside maybe after you die, but not right now. So I think I haven't said anything crazy here. Yeah, as you say, soul is a constitution of you, so it's neither in you or around you. Yeah, it's like, it's hard to explain. It's part of you. It's that's maybe kind of how I would put it. Anyways, let me check what you guys are saying. I don't know if how to describe nafs. I guess a nafs is kind of like a tool. It controls our freedom to make choices. We need nafs so that we can have desire, like want to purchase. Yeah. So nafs are the desires. It can be transitioned into evil. All right. And there was a question outside of this, so I'm going to answer that. Why Europe is more wealthy than most Muslim countries, except the Arabian? And if in Europe Islam established, will it lose its wealth? This is like, there's so many parts to this question. Let me answer the first one. Why is Europe more wealthy? Well, that depends, because like, which Europe, first of all, so when you talk about Muslims, you exclude Arabia, but you shouldn't do that because you're putting all Europe together. For example, where I am, Czech Republic, and I'm from Slovakia, we are a wealthy nation, kind of. It's not like top, it's not like Western Europe. And we never participated in slavery, and we were always occupied. So if you put us together with Western Europe, technically we were part of the West now, but we were never part of the West. We were communists. So Europe is also Russia. Europe is also Belarus. Europe is also Ukraine, which has one of the worst salaries compared to Muslim countries as well. Europe is also Balkan Peninsula, where there was a genocide and a war. Europe is, many things. So when you say Europe, you need to clarify, why is it Europe more wealthy? Well, which part of Europe are you talking about? For example, UK is no longer part of Europe right now. European Union, technically, is still part of Europe as a geographical location. So I assume you mean the Western Europe, but we should make that distinction for sure. Now, why is Western Europe more wealthy than most Muslim countries outside of Arabia? So again, you're probably saying African Muslim countries or these. So the answer is very simple. Well, because they colonized them. So, I mean, I don't have to go even further. It's simple. But again, for example, half of the Europe didn't colonize anyone. Like from the middle, like half of Germany plus Czech plus all us plus Balkans plus Russia, we didn't do anything like that against Muslims. So that's the thing where you should keep in mind. And we're still wealthy. So what's the problem then? So the second thing is, if Europe Islam establish, will it lose its wealth? If Islam gets established in Europe, it would lose its wealth. I think the question is a kind of not a paradox, but it doesn't make sense, because like Islam will never, probably, maybe I'm wrong, maybe with time it will establish itself in Europe, but it's never gonna be mainstream. Like I don't think that's even possible to conclude. Maybe in the future, maybe like before Day of Judgment, like there are these prophecies. I just can't see it right now. So if Islam establishes in Europe, we need to clarify what is establishment, because it's already here. There's millions and millions of Muslims. I think overall there's like 50 million Muslims in Europe altogether. So there's already mosques in every city. There's already Islamic centers. There's already things you can do. So that already exists. I assume you mean the political Islam. That's what I have a problem with, because I don't think that will happen. Will it lose its wealth? No. No, because like it's already here. How can it lose something that's already built in the system? So no, I don't think it's gonna lose anything. But I think your questions had like a strange premises. So anyways, let's see some other questions. All right. Someone related to question: does the soul interact with the material, our body? Do we affirm substance dualism? Well, that's a philosophical question, but I'm just gonna simplify it. So does the soul interact with the body? Of course, you need the body to experience the soul. But do we affirm substance dualism? I'm not sure what you mean by that. Maybe clarify substance dualism for people who are here. Yeah, soul can live without the body outside of dunya. At least that's where I get it. Where is it? Soul is a constitutional view. Where is it? Well, it's you. Again, You can't. So you're asking a question like, where is the soul? It's the same like asking like, where is Allah? Well, how can I explain something where you can't even grasp the answer for it? You right now are part of that soul. Where is it? Can I point to it? No. That's what I said. Like, it cannot be observed. Soul cannot be observed. The same way consciousness cannot be observed. You can only see waves in brain, but that is not consciousness. That is the effect of it. But you don't see consciousness the same way you don't see soul. Even the soul is not consciousness. Consciousness is part of the soul. Reason is part of the soul. But it's all from Allah, and you can't see it. So I don't know. Where is it? It doesn't apply the properties of space. That I don't think they apply to this concept. Maybe I'm wrong. Salam alaikum. What do you mean by where? We Muslims believe in apparent and hidden reality, Bazi's branch, and Ruh is not yet. They both make up human. Yeah, so like it's pretty simple. You have the seen and the unseen world. There are things which are unseen. For example, the angels. Sometimes the Allah is unseen. The qadr of Allah is unseen. The soul is unseen. So all these things are part of the unseen. And then you have this world, the material world, which you can empirically see and touch and feel and see like what's going on. But this is a lower world. And if you live in this, just let's say, if you prefer this world, then you will never kind of even figure out that there's some other type of reality going on. But you will feel it, of course, because your soul is here. You are that thing. Anyways, talking too much. Exactly. This is something we talked about today, where yeah, they ask you about the spirit, the soul, and say its nature is only known to Allah, to your Lord, and all humanity have been given but little knowledge. Exactly. So we can ponder, we can think about this, but we will never find the answer until we transcend. But we can conclude certain things. Same way we can conclude. For example, philosophy will never give you answer to anything, because it's not an objective. It's nothing objective here. It's just thoughts of humans about reality. But like John Locke, tabula rasa, like this is a human endeavor trying to understand where do our ideas come from, and maybe there's some truth in it, but it's not objective. So this will never help you to grasp the knowledge of the soul or something like that, because that is only with Allah. And all that information, day of judgment, Jannah, what happens in hellfire, all that is with Allah. But we can use human endeavor to kind of figure out some basics, but nothing more. So that's why I'm just saying, like, this is just a small tool, but it's not something you can reach a conclusion with, because the conclusion doesn't lie in us. Subhanallah. Ruh is the hidden reality. Western Europe is wealthier because of colonization. Yes, as I said, it has nothing to do with democratic liberals, because South America Muslim countries. The thing is, I made a video about this like a couple of years ago. There is a theory of democratic peace. For example, if you have two democratic countries who border each other, they will not attack each other, because the consequences of attack would produce more harm than if they cooperate. So democratic countries don't tend to go to war with each other, because the bad outweighs the good. And that's kind of why also we can explain that there hasn't been any conflict in Europe for the past, let's say, 100 years in the Western part, because it just made sense more to collaborate and make alliances and make economic unions and stuff like that. So democracy has a role to play in this later on in the 20th century, especially when we talk about the establishment of the European Union and how they started to collaborate together. But it has a lot to do with geographical locations. South America and Muslim countries, or democracies who were later invented, they didn't have this background, and they didn't have this, let's say, it was, democracy was imported there. It wasn't like naturally born. So they don't have the same way that the Western Europe or the US had. Anyways, the same tradition. So I would maybe slightly disagree, but that it has nothing to do with democracy. It does, but it doesn't link to the human rights or nothing like that. It's just from a purely rational perspective, democracies shouldn't go to war together. Therefore, they get richer because they are located like here, and they can cooperate. They have a bigger market and stuff like that. Yes, the unseen is consciousness, being aware of being aware of what you're not. That is not the ego. Nice way to put it too. Where I come from, Bosnia, which is in Europe, there was literally genocide. There is a hypothetical for a new war to start soon. May Allah protect us. Yeah, you sound like a Bosnian name, like Ishevich. I actually like Bosnia. I want to go there. Subhanallah. Next year, for at least a month, I want to spend in Sarajevo or something like that. And yeah, it's a tremendous, horrific genocide happened in Bosnia. And you are my Slavic brothers, by ethnicity as well, not just religion. So I feel closeness to Bosnia because they are Slavs, white people who speak Slavic language like me, and they are Muslims. Like, it's such a mind-boggling concept. But high possibility of war, really? Let me know what's up. What the war? Who is going against who? I haven't heard anything. I think Bosnia was in talk with Europe to join the EU soon, together with Montenegro and Albania. So let me know. How to deal with doubts? Well, let me know what doubts, and I'll answer that. There's many ways to do it, but the only doubts come from not. It's such a complicated question because doubts also come from you not being in touch with Allah. Like, I've experienced now, I've been a Muslim for what is 20, like 8 months. Well, I've been practicing for 10 months. I did my shahada maybe in March, I don't know. So it's been quite some time, but I'm not a long time. But I had up and down. And whenever I felt down, whenever I felt some doubt or something, it always related not just to like a rational argument, but it always related to also me engaging in sin, me engaging in behavior which I know I shouldn't do, or I didn't visit mosque that much, or I didn't fast. Like, your doubt will be cleared. Like, just try one day of fasting. That's what I did last week. That's all you need. Like, you get closer to Allah. So, or go to a mosque when there's no one there, just you alone in the mosque is so beautiful. I did that this week, and I had the most spiritual experience there. And it was more spiritual than I was in Turkey, and I heard the adhan and all these things, and it was amazing, and everything was great. But in that mosque in Prague, with a guy where we didn't have running water to do wudu, so I had to get a bottle and do wudu with that. And it was just me and a couple of other guys, and then they left, and I was just sitting there in the mosque and just chilling and just kind of reflecting, just like sitting and just doing nothing, not looking at the phone, not looking at anything, and just thinking about Allah, thinking about your death, thinking about Day of Judgment, and just staring in the floor. That's beautiful. Same thing happened in Jumal yesterday. I came there like 30 minutes before it started, and I had this, like, I just like it when I can just sit down on the carpet and just do nothing, just think about Allah. That's so beautiful. Not and then of course you can read the Quran or something, but that kind of like you think about those things, but pure reflection. I'm talking mostly almost like meditation, and just kind of like looking and just thinking about your day, thinking about your life, like how grateful you are. Because in Salat you can do that, but it's like you're reciting and you never have enough time to finish these things. But sometimes you just go to a mosque and just chill out. It's a long answer. Study Quran more. Yeah. It's like a fish in the water. There is nowhere. It's in water. It's unseen. It's not located. Yeah. It's not from this world, so you can't really give it properties like location or how much it weighs. Even we can measure something left the body when it died. So it's very difficult to figure out like what is. So going outside and beyond consciousness is nothing. Is no thing. Yeah, consciousness, like we know we have it, but we can't prove it. But we know we have it. How do we know we have it? By a first person experience. But I don't see your consciousness. I can't see your thoughts, but I know you have them because I have some. So I assume you have them as well. But how can I prove that if I can never see your consciousness? Because maybe you don't have these thoughts. Maybe I'm wrong, and maybe the entire world is in my head, and the thoughts are just in my head, and you don't have them. You don't experience the same life as I do. But we trust each other that, yeah, we have these thoughts, and this is how life works. Because it's unverifiable. It's unverifiable. We all know we have it, though. So that's the first person kind of like soulish experience. Very difficult. Would you consider a brain dead person to be soulless, or you think you are aware of their awareness? We talked about this today, that even dead people can feel when they are put to grave. You should wash them not with very hot water or cold water, but like right in between, because their soul can still feel it even if they died. And of course you can't burn the body for the day of resurrection. So this is where the revelation comes in, and you need to kind of understand it, right? That it's important uh, to realize that the soul can be after death also still somehow, I don't know how, part of the body, but also it's outside, it's in the kingdom of Allah at some point. I don't know. That's kind of how I get it, how I understand it. So I guess the brain dead person definitely has soul in them because he has life. So by definition, he's not dead. He still has life. He's just brain dead. So soul is there, but it's probably also somewhere else. Because, for example, this is a simple exercise. When you sleep, your soul, your heart seeks permission from Allah to return to your body when you're unconscious. So you're sleeping, you are alive in that body, right? Oxygen goes up and down and stuff, but you're not in the body. You're in some weird dream. You're somewhere else. Your consciousness, your soul is taken out of your body. Then it seeks permission to come back, and then it comes back. So essentially the same thing is with this brain dead person or whoever is in coma. They are part of the body in some way, but the soul has left, needs to return. And after you die, I guess similar thing will happen. You'll be basically somewhere else, but then you'll also feel maybe something. I don't know, man. We'll all see one day. And then the day of judgment will show us. So yeah. All right, guys. It is impossible to locate the soul or observe consciousness since one must use it in order to attempt the latter. Yeah, exactly. One feels it, doesn't observe it. It is dispersed widely and non-locational. In a sense, it's all here, as when duality breaks down, there is no here and there. Hey, blogging theology, greetings. By the way, guys, yeah, I forgot to mention that I'll be having a podcast, inshallah, with the blogging theology in I think a couple of weeks or days. So we'll see what's gonna happen there. Thanks for pozdrawiam z Polski. Was. Dzień dobry. So I hope you get it. Are you a short guy to be more annoying? Are you a short guy to be more annoying, Bosnian Michael Chandler? What is your question? By the way, I'm not a short guy. I'm very tall, actually. So maybe let me know what's up. Salam alaikum. Anyways, so now we're explaining the Bosnian War. So I want to know. After the war, there was a Dayton Agreement which divided the country in 3 districts: Bosnian Federation, Serbian Republic, Brčko district. Now the Serbian president wants to strip away. Okay, so again, we're talking about the Serbia and stuff. Guys, this is a very local conflict. And if you don't know the history, you can go on YouTube right now and you can type in General Vlatko Mladic or something like that. If I'm not mistaken, pronouncing his name, and you can just see how he's doing genocide. Like he goes with a tank into a village and he just wipes it out. It's pretty insane. Love your analysis, combining reason with intuition. All right, thanks. Paul Williams is online. Hello, hello, hello. I see my nafs when I look deeply into my eyes in the mirror. It's scary sometimes. Dang. By this you mean desires? Because we discussed that nafs are your kind of animalistic, right, desires. So yeah, it's pretty crazy when you look into your eyes in the mirror. I don't think I do this that often, but I think I should. But when somebody catches you staring in a window, it's kind of weird. You should read the book Genius of Islam by you should read a book by Genius Imam Al-Ghazali on discipline and soul, breaking the two desires. I have 2 books from Al-Ghazali. I already read them. You need to be careful with Al-Ghazali because he was in the earlier stages of his life. He was a Sufi, or kind of like in a Sufi way of life. During the end of his life, he completely left Sufism and just became a religious person, like very, very dogmatic about the Quran and the Sunnah. So, yeah, it's really important. So, I would actually recommend looking at Letter to a Disciple. Oh, what was the book? I don't know. The last book that he has about the letters to his student about how he should conduct his life. And that's really profound. Like, that blew me away. So, check it out. But this one, yeah, I'll check this one as well. Like, really, this is such a cool book. But again, don't get it. Don't get it if you have any doubts or something, because you need to be strong. And there's always a question if philosophy is good, So I don't want to get into that, but don't get the book if you don't think you can handle it. Used to follow that work closely when Izetbegovic and Milosevic were in power. Isn't that crazy? And Ali Izetbegovic's life is so insane. Like, I just respect that guy so much. Serbian Republic became independent in order to Bosniaks and Muslims take back. Yeah, I get it. I get the old adage about the Serbians taking away their part, but I just think it's such a useless conflict because it's such a small part of the world, Bosnia and Serbia as well. Like, I don't know. We never had a war like Czechoslovakia when we broke up, because it was just like, hey, you guys take 2/3 because you have 10 million people, we have 5, so we'll take 1/3. No one died, and we just split. It was very simple. But we never had that many nationalities live together, and we were pretty, like, I don't know. I think we're like, I can't use this expression because it's vulgar, but I think we're like weak people to fight. We're not that strong. Well, Slovaks maybe a bit are, but Czechs, yeah, we're like, don't want to fight. So let's just chill out. Your beliefs about torn souls and awareness and such. Strange. I don't know what you mean by that. Torn souls. I don't follow. Don't you think you should grow a beard? Blogging theology, so your appearance, and these questions with beards. Like, look at this. It's starting somehow, but the beard is fine. But the thing is, like, Islam is behavior. Islam is all about behavior, and yeah, you can grow a beard, but you can have the best beard you can, but you can be a messed up person. So, I don't think it's necessary. Actually, by the way, guys, what do you think about this idea? And this is just very crazy, and I don't want you to hold me to this. I was thinking about an Islamic name, not for like changing my passport and stuff. I'm still gonna be Jan because I'm known as Jan, but just maybe in the future, or just kind of like who I think would be kind of the best, if I could pick one from the Islamic names or from the names that I could. And guess who I relate the most to. So I'll give you, let's say, 4 names, and you tell me which one I want to pick, and then you tell me which one I should pick. So one is Yahya. You know Yahya, first one. The second one is Moses. Third one is Ibrahim, and the fourth one is Muhammad. So which one of these? And the fifth one is Isa. Let's say, which one of these do you think I want to pick? If I pick any, let me know. Blogging theology is my favorite channel. Good. we'll have a podcast and you guys will see. We're gonna talk about Christianity. Salam, Jan. Take care, bro. Thanks. What exactly did you mention about the tank wiping out the village? Yeah. So there's this general who goes through basically Bosnia, and he just, like, you can see there's a documentary about this as well. But people gets taken out of their houses and they just kill them on the street and just go like that and just kill a lot of people. And it's like the camera is following them. Like, it's pretty crazy. So just type in like Bosnian genocide and try to watch a couple of documentaries about this. It's pretty insane and very complicated, by the way. Pick Mustafa. Dude, I didn't even give you that option. Like, I give you 5 options and you say pick Mustafa. No, Mustafa seems like a lion or something. I don't want to pick Mustafa. Yeah, and I think because Muslim is my, I think, reasons. It's both. Well, no, because like Muslim ethnic reasons. Well, they wanted to kind of wrap it up so that, yeah, they want to get back to at Turks who brought like Islam to Bosnia, and so they wanted to destroy that. Yes, it was with religions definitely background, but it was ethnic cleansing because they were just picking basically Bosnian Muslims. So anyways, yeah, it was kind of a mix, but it wasn't, yeah, it wasn't pure ethnic. I guess that's correct. Yeah, now Somali. Guys, did you understand my question? Yahya, okay, got it. Yahya, thank you. Yahya is good because it's a translation of my name, technically. Isa sounds good. Jesus. Pick for what? For my name, if I change my name to an Islamic name, so let me know. Muhammad or Isa? Subhanallah. Isa. Velice. This is in Czech. Very informative stream, boy. Thanks, Leonardo da Vinci. Isa. So Jesus again. Subhanallah. I can't decide. All right. So I'll let you know. I'll let you know. I know about his background at the end of times. This is Al Ghazali, right? By the end of times of his life, he died a lot for Islam. Yeah, exactly. He actually left whatever he was doing, and he went to to clean mosque in like some desert. All right. So which name do I think I want? And the name is Ibrahim. The reason is I don't want it now. I'm just thinking about, like, I was just thinking about it a few days ago, like, which name could I technically like relate to? Actually, by the way, quick note, in Christianity you also pick a name when you get like to a 15-year-old. They do like a new ceremony, and so you pick a saint. So I picked Felix, I think, when I was a Christian, and I picked that name just because I was reading Harry Potter and there was a Professor Dumbledore and he had a bird called Felix, and I liked that name. This is the only reason I picked that guy. But here I want to just look at like who I relate to most. And with Ibrahim, he is to me I don't know, there's something special about him. It even says, Prophet Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, he says like he has a special relationship with Allah, and Allah likes Ibrahim because he was the first original monotheistic prophet, and from him everything came. Every other prophet came from basically him almost. And so he's a pretty major figure, and he's thinking about the nature of the reality and the way he talked to his dad and the way he lived his life. And at the end of his life, the angel visits him, tells him that he will have this son, and then the son will be the prophet, and he has to sacrifice him, and then another son, another prophet, and then they live until like 130 years old or something. And he travels around the world. He goes to Egypt. He travels around the world. He starts at the age of like 90 or something. That's insane. And everybody makes fun of him in his city, and he makes fun of the things, the statues that they are worshiping. And he's like joking around. Like, it's pretty, I like that because I'm kind of like that. And then he tries to figure out, well, who is my Lord? Is it the moon? Is it the sun? Is it this person, that person? And then he realizes, not, it's the thing that makes the sun go up and down. That's my Lord. And subhanallah, like, that's why I think it's a cool name. Maybe I'll use like Abraham. Abraham, yeah. No. Abraham is a friend of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Yes. Yes. And I like that. All right. Beard is useless. I don't think it's useless. I think if I could grow a real beard, I would. But I can't. Like, it's really problematic for me. But I just don't focus on the beard right now. Because again, there's many thoughts about it. And now everybody wears beards. Like in my office, every non-Muslim has a beard, like a big beard. It's like, the original idea was to also separate yourself from non-Muslims, but this doesn't even apply today because everybody's hipster. Mustafa means chosen one. Nice, I didn't know that. Serbs did ethnic cleansing in Kosovo too. Yes, exactly. God became aware of himself and burst out energy, creating the universe. God creates the soul from within himself and released them into the universe so he could know and experience everything. So this is a speculation. Of course, we will never know the actual reason, because you can't say God became aware of himself, because that would imply that he wasn't aware of himself before that time, which concludes that he's not all aware. So there's many things I've read about this. There's one thing where it says like God wanted to create something beautiful to get to know him. So, but inshallah, one day we'll see. We just know the reason in this dunya, but the metaphysical reason, the reason for the entire reality of everything, it's only with Allah, the same as the knowledge of the soul. So we can only speculate. They murdered many. What's your question about names? I already said that. Salman Al Faris, have you ever visited mosque in Cherny Mosque? Yes, of course. I was there today, dude. I was there today for a couple of hours. It's the biggest mosque, guys. Cherny Mosque in Prague. Also, I'm good. Do not change the name. Ibrahim. I'm not changing it. I'm just saying it's the one. If I change, that's the one I would pick. Yeah. Allah has a hand. What is your interpretation of this? Of course, it's nothing like ours. It's a symptom. It's not up to me to interpret Islamic knowledge. So I don't even have an opinion on this. And whoever has an opinion on this should not even speak, because they should be qualified and they should have at least a degree and study this thing. Because you can get into many trouble with this. My interpretation doesn't really matter. My thoughts doesn't really matter. I'm not here. It's not like Christianity where I think, well, maybe Jesus is not God. Like, I'm not going to speculate on this. I don't know what he means by he has a hand. Maybe, it's something you can't grasp. It's something I don't even, the thinking about this is like useful. Like, so what if Allah has a hand, or if it's metaphoric? How does it affect Allah? Like, these are just some details that people are talking about, but like, it doesn't matter to me. Like, whether it's metaphoric or real, it doesn't change anything if he has a hand or not. So I just think like these details are just so petty, to be honest. He makes dua for us, for next generations. I love Ibrahim. Yeah. Well, we all do, right? We all send blessings on him in our prayers. That's crazy. Mashallah, I'm gonna probably meet you when Ramadan comes. The mosque hosts iftar. I go to the center for iftar and Ramadan. Inshallah, the next Ramadan, if I live until then, I usually go there because it's very close to me. I don't go to Cherny Mosque; it's kind of far away. But I wanna try it if I ever do it. All right, guys. I think this was a very successful stream. Subhanahu wa ta'ala. I think this was really amazing. Thank you so much for tuning in. I didn't expect this many comments. Yeah, the soul is an interesting topic. I'm gonna continue with the work, and we'll see what happens. Right now, I made a video about Michaela Peterson because her dad is doing a podcast with Mohammed Hijab, and I think it's picking up. It's like one of the, I checked the analytics and it has the most views after like one day, outside of my other, not no other video has that many. So maybe it will reach her, and maybe, you know, it can be something interesting. I'm still gonna post some videos from my trip in Antalya, which I haven't produced yet, and then I'll have a ton of new content, some interviews, and we'll see what happens. I mean, I'm still doing something, um, and I don't know what's my kind of like a strong side to focus on. I'm doing preparing some materials for Dawa here, where I'm basically I'm doing this. I'm wrapping up all the arguments that I have in some concise manner together with my story, so it kind of resonates with people. But anyways, those are some of the things that I'm involved in, and we'll see how it goes. So I'm staying in Prague, and we'll see what happens. But thank you so much, Jazakallah Khair, for being here, and let's see what happens. Nice. Yeah, I did the same thing. Thank you guys for tuning in. Have a great weekend, and inshallah, I'll see you next week. Stay on the straight path. This world is not worth what we're after. So just always remind yourself to fear Allah, not to fear Him because you fear like His punishment, because you fear your bad action, because you know you disobeyed. You fear yourself basically as well, because you fear like, oh, I didn't do this good thing. So you're not fearing Allah as like a police officer. You're fearing Allah because He knows what you did. So fear Allah. See you guys later.